Hello, everyone. So this is another MATHCOUNTS question. So this was a state team run as well. So we have a equation. This is actually a real common type of exponent problems with the equation. So we are looking for 3 to the x value when you are given this equation, right? And it doesn't really ask us to find the x, so we just need what we want, okay? So we don't really want to find x itself. So whenever you see such a problem, I will ask you to look into the base numbers that you are given and see if you can make those base are the same or in terms of what you are looking. So in this case, we have 3, 3, 9. So the 9 could be written as 3 to the something, which is what I'm going to try first, okay? So I have 3 to the x. And then this guy, x plus 2 as my exponent can be split. So I can write it as 3 to the x times 3 to the second power. So the reason I'm doing it because I like to get 3 to the x itself, so I don't want to have some number after the x, so which is why I just split it that way. And I'll do the same thing with the other two numbers. So 9 could be written 3 squared to the x power. And then this guy is 9 to the x, which is going to be the same as this guy. So 3 squared to the x and times 9 squared. So I can write it as just this way. Okay, so this is fairly good stuff for now. Okay, but this is not really helpful yet. So because we want to find 3 to the x, so which is why I just need everything in terms of 3 to the x. So on the left side, this is good because this is 9 times 3 to the x. This is 1 times that. So if you combine those, so that will be 10 times 3 to the x. Okay. And then this guy, 2 and x is in a place that I don't like to have that way. So I like to have 3 to the x power, not 3 squared to the x. So if you remember some of the exponent properties, so whenever you have like x to the 8th power to the b power, so we can multiply those, like that would be 8 times b. But at the same time, I can swap those places. I can write x to the b to the 8th power. So sometimes this is what we want. And this is actually what we want in our case, because instead of x right here, I need x inside and then 2 outside. So I will just write it 3 to the x to the second power. And then the same thing right here. So this is 81. So I can write it as 81 times 3 to the x to the second power. So this is good, but at the same time, I have 3 to the x a lot, which is nice stuff. Nice progress, but at the same time, I have squared out that guy, and then that's not really helpful. So at this point, I'll make a substitution. I'm gonna say, let's let 3 to the x is equal to y, because that will be a bit less complicated looking. If you replace 3 to the x with y, so that should be 10 times y equals y to the second power, because this guy is y, plus 81 times y to the second power, right? Okay, so if you combine the right side, so you do get 82 y squared, and the left side will be 10y. So we know 3 to the some power is always positive. So this guy is a positive number. So which is why I may divide both sides by y if I want to, which is gonna be okay, but I'm not gonna do it for now. So I'm gonna just find all the solution. So if I just subtract 10y from both sides, so I will get 82 y squared minus 10y is equal to 0. And you may divide by 2 because it is divisible. So 41y squared minus 5y is 0. Since we have y in both terms as common, so we can pull that as a factor. So that should be 41y minus 5. And that will be equal to 0. If you have two things to multiply to get 0, so each could be 0. So that means y could be 0, or 41y minus 5 should be 0, right? So from there, so you can say y has to be, if you add 5 to both sides, you got 41y is 5. So that divided by 41, so 5 over 41. So this is what we were looking, because the question was asking 3 to the x, which is actually y. And then we got two values, that is 0 or 5 over 41. a positive number to the x power cannot be zero, so we cannot really accept this guy. But when we have this quadratic, when we solve it, we got two solutions, but we can accept this guy for this number. So even though that's the solution for this equation, but that's not a answer for our fraction. So the final answer is 5/41. Okay, so I hope that makes sense and it was clear. I'll see you next week.